With companies like Xiaomi offering flagship specs at rock-bottom prices, it's a good time to be a consumer. But with so many choices, which among these flagship killers should you purchase? We take a look at 4 phones that are vying for the price of the disruptor. Let's start first with the Xiaomi Mi 3, the phone that's selling out its stock in less than 3 seconds. Whether their selling model is any good is up for debate, but what isn't is what this phone brings to the table. A quad-core 2.3 GHz Snapdragon 800 processor, a 5-inch 1080p display, a 13-megapixel rear camera with 1080p video recording, an Adreno 330 GPU, and Android 4.3. Impressive specs, no doubt. But what is even more impressive is the price, Rs 13,999. What's perhaps the best thing about the device is the design, an impressive unibody plastic that somehow doesn't feel cheap to hold. Holding the Mi 3 in your hands may be as good as holding a premium device. The one thing that may not appeal to people as much is the Mi UI, which is Xiaomi's skin on top of Android. While it's functional, it's nowhere near as polished as HTC's Sense or Sony's Xperia UI. The phone also comes with 16GB onboard storage, but with no option to expand it via microSD card slot. Xiaomi even managed to throw in a 30-50 mAh battery. Our advice: wait for a while for the mass hysteria to subside and the phone becomes available in mass, and more importantly, with customer service centers in place. The Asus Zenfone 5 might not make as refined an impression as the Mi 3, but it holds its own in the look department. There isn't much to look at, but the phone feels nice in the hand and is solidly built. The 5-inch display comes in at 720p and is vibrant with good viewing angles, though the Mi 3 beats it in this department. Asus went with the Intel Atom dual-core 2 GHz processor for the phone, and while it performs well, there have been occasions in the past where OTA updates were slow to roll out to Intel phones. So it will be interesting to see how Asus deals with this in the long run. The phone runs Android 4.3 with an Asus skin on top, and as far as Android skins go, you may either love it or hate it. There is a 8-megapixel rear camera with 1080p video recording, and the phone comes with 8GB onboard storage. But unlike the Mi 3, you can expand it via microSD up to 64GB. The 8GB Zenfone 5 sells for Rs 9,999. John Scully's maiden venture into smartphones bears fruit with the OB Octopus S520. Design-wise, it's a rather plain-looking device, with little to tell it apart from other phones. Both the Mi 3 and Zenfone are better-looking devices. OB runs a MediaTek 1.7 GHz octa-core processor, which performs well enough, and Android 4.4.2. What OB needs to be commended upon is the fact they have chosen to keep a near-stock version of the Android UI, not slowing it down with the skin. The 5-inch 720p display somehow looks worse than the one on Zenfone and isn't really very good. OB throws in an 8-megapixel rear camera, and the phone comes with 8GB storage, which can be expanded via a microSD card slot up to 32GB. The S520 has a 1800 mAh battery and is unsurprisingly the worst performer when it comes to battery life. The OB sells for Rs 11,990. Now on to the phone that started it all, the Moto G. The G's quad-core Snapdragon 400 clocks at 1.2 GHz and may be old now, but it is still a decent performer. Design-wise, it comes a close second to the Mi 3 with a classy curved design that feels really good to hold in the hand and has a heft to it. The 4.5-inch 720p display is also top-notch, but is also the smallest display out of the 4 phones. The Moto G also remains the only phone to support 4G LTE out of the box out of the 4 phones. Its 5-megapixel camera isn't quite up to par with the other phones, but performs decently. The 8GB internal storage is also not expandable, unlike the Octopus or Zenfone, but it does have a bigger battery than the OB Octopus. The 8GB Moto G sells for Rs 11,999, and for that price, it's hard to beat it.